All right, today we're going to break down some of the most powerful and honestly life-changing ideas from Morgan Housel's incredible book, The Psychology of Money.
We're going to explore a really simple but profound idea here, and it's this. Doing well with money, it has way less to do with how smart you are and a lot more to do with how you behave. It's not about what you know, it's really about what you do.
And nothing illustrates this better than a true story. Seriously, this story is going to turn everything you think you know about wealth completely upside down. We're talking about a janitor and a top financial executive.
Okay, so on one side, you've got this guy, Ronald Reed. He was a lifelong janitor and gas station attendant, lived a super simple, frugal life, and then, to everyone's total shock, he leaves behind an $8 million fortune for charity. Crazy, right? Then, on the other side of the coin, you have Richard Fiscone. This guy is the opposite. Harvard-educated, a Merrill Lynch executive. He retired in his 40s to become a philanthropist, but he borrowed heavily, lived this huge, lavish lifestyle, and then he went bankrupt during the 2008 financial crisis.
So you have to ask yourself, right? How is that even possible? A janitor with no formal training outperforming a top-tier finance executive. What gives? Well, the answer really challenges everything we've been taught about financial success. It's not just about your credentials, your IQ, or how big your paycheck is. And this amazing paradox, this story, it leads us right to the absolute core idea of the entire book, which is all about our relationship with money. So here's the core idea. Think about this. Financial success? It's not a hard science. It's not like physics with strict formulas. It's a soft skill. And what that means is that your behavior, your psychology, that stuff is way more important than what you can learn from a textbook. It's really about understanding your own emotions, your biases, and your own personal history with money. And this is why Housel has this brilliant line where he says, "No one is crazy." Think about it. Your financial decisions are shaped by your unique life experiences. It's like we're all running our own personal software based on our upbringing. So someone who grew up in poverty is going to see risk completely differently than, say, the child of a wealthy banker. What looks totally irrational to you might make perfect sense to someone else.
Okay, so if behavior is the key, then what are the most important behaviors we should focus on? Well, this is where Housel makes this really brilliant distinction. He actually separates wealth into two completely different, and get this, almost opposite skill sets.
All right, think of it like this. Getting wealthy, that requires you to take risks. It demands optimism, a willingness to really put yourself out there. But staying wealthy, whoa, that's a whole different ballgame. It requires the total opposite. It requires humility, it requires frugality, and it requires a healthy dose of paranoia, a real fear that what you've built can vanish just as quickly as it came.
So when we talk about building wealth, what's the most powerful tool in the toolbox? You might think it's some complex trading strategy, right? Nope. It's something surprisingly simple. The book puts it perfectly when talking about Warren Buffett. His skill is investing, but his secret is time. And that, my friends, is the magic of compounding. And check this out. This number is just mind-blowing. A staggering $81.5 billion of Warren Buffett's net worth was accumulated after he turned 65. Just let that sink in for a second. His real superpower isn't just being a genius stock picker. It's his unbelievable longevity. He's been in the game consistently for over 75 years. And that brings us to a really critical lesson, maybe one of the most important ones. The number one skill you need to let that compounding magic happen, it's just survival. That's it. You just have to stay in the game. Through all the crazy ups and the painful downs, you've got to be around long enough to see those incredible long-term results. So what does this survival mindset actually look like in practice? Well, it kind of breaks down into three practical ideas. First, your goal shouldn't be to chase the absolute biggest returns. Instead, focus on being financially unbreakable. Second, you have to plan on your plan not going according to plan. Something will always come up. And third, you need to find this balance. Be optimistic about the future in the long run, but be totally paranoid about what could stop you from getting there in the short term. Okay, so let's shift gears a little. If survival is the strategy, then what's the ultimate goal? What is all this saving and investing and worrying really for? Well, first, we have to get our heads around a huge difference. The difference between being rich and being wealthy. They are not the same thing. Being rich, that's about having a high income right now. It's visible. You see it in the fancy cars, the big houses. It's really about spending money. But wealth is different.
Wealth is what you don't see. It's the income you haven't spent. It's hidden away in savings and investments, and its real value is giving you options for the future. And understanding that distinction between rich and wealthy, it helps us answer what might be the most important question of all. What is money's greatest intrinsic value? What's the point? And this right here might be the book's most powerful insight. It's not about the luxury stuff. See, a psychologist named Angus Campbell discovered that the single most dependable predictor of happiness is having a strong sense of control over your own life. That's more important than your salary, your house, or your job title. So the highest dividend that money pays isn't stuff, it's control. But what does control actually look like in real life, day to day? Well, it's the ability to take a few days off when you're sick without totally panicking about money. It's the freedom to wait for a good job after a layoff instead of grabbing the first thing that comes along. It's not being terrified of your boss. It's the power to deal with an emergency without it becoming a financial disaster. It's the option to change careers or retire on your own terms. Basically, in one word, it's flexibility. And really, that's it. That is the highest, most valuable form of wealth you can have. The ability to do what you want, when you want, with who you want, for as long as you want. Now that is a goal that's absolutely worth striving for. So that leaves us with one final question to really think about. Instead of just asking, how can I get more money? Try asking yourself this. How can I use the money I have right now to gain just a little more control over my most valuable asset? And that asset, of course, is your time.